TIFU. This was a low point for me. Was out of town working last week. For dinner I ended up going to a small pub to watch the hockey game. I had a cute waitress who was quite chatty. I ordered the chicken parm that was on special. Tasted great. Had about 4 beers with dinner, then another 3 or 4 while watching the end of the hockey game and chatting with my waitress. Took my shot to try and get the waitress's number, that was a no-go. So I stoop her back to my hotel room. Get inside my room and I'm drunk, and obviously horny at this point. So I get naked, jump on the bed and start to shake hands with the milkman, if you know what I mean. There's must have been something wrong with the chicken because all of a sudden I feel my stomach grumbling like mad, and while in mid-stroke, I start shitting myself. All over the white hotel bedsheets. I jump up and try to run to the toilet, all while my boner is flopping around and there is shit dripping from my ass. Let me tell you, trying to clean that disaster up while drunk was not fun. I think this is a low point for me. TIFU by buying everyone an Ancestry DNA kit and ruining Christmas. Earlier this year, Ancestry DNA had a sale on their kit. I thought it would be a great gift idea so I bought 6 of them for Christmas presents. Today my family got together to exchange presents for our Christmas Eve tradition, and I gave my mom, dad, brother, and 2 sisters each a kit. As soon as everyone opened their gift at the same time, my mom started freaking out. She told us how she didn't want us taking them because they had unsafe chemicals. We explained to her how there were actually no chemicals, but we could tell she was still flustered. Later she started trying to convince us that only one of us kids need to take it since we will all have the same results and to resell extra kits to save money. Fast forward. Our parents have been fighting upstairs for the past hour, and we are downstairs trying to figure out who has a different dad. Update. Thank you so much for all the love and support. My sisters, brother and I have not yet decided if we are going to take the test. No matter what the results are, we will still love each other, and our parents no matter what. Update 2, Christmas isn't ruined. My TIFU actually turned into a Christmas miracle. Turns out my sister's father passed away shortly after she was born. A good friend of my mom's was able to help her through the darkest time in her life, and they went on to fall in love and create the rest of our family. They never told us because of how hard it was for my mom. Last night she was strong enough to share stories and photos with us for the first time, and it truly brought us even closer together as a family. This is a Christmas we will never forget. And yes, we are all excited to get our test results. Merry Christmas everyone. P.S. Sorry my mom isn't a whore. No you're not my daddy. TIFU by letting one rip during Oppenheimer's silent bomb scene in my father-in-law's barn theater. So here's the setup. My wife's entire family gets together every year for a big holiday dinner at her parents' farm in Florida. It's a huge place, think barn turned airplane hangar, complete with a movie theater setup because my father-in-law is a tech enthusiast with 2 planes parked right there. Yeah, it's as bougie as it sounds. After a massive dinner, lots of beans were involved, critical detail, we all gather in the barn for movie night. My father-in-law suggested Oppenheimer because he couldn't stop raving about how the sound system would blow us away during the bomb scene. Now, my wife's family is ridiculously hygienic, like, they've probably got hand sanitizer brands on speed dial, so everything is always prim, proper and pristine. Anyway, we're all seated in these fancy recliners, bellies full, and the movie's dragging on a bit for my taste, but I'm being a good sport. Then comes the moment, the Trinity test. My father-in-law had hyped up the sound system so much that I literally braced myself, hands over ears, expecting to be launched into a sonic apocalypse. But here's the kicker, the bomb goes off, and silence. Absolute cinematic silence. Meanwhile, I, thinking this was my cover, let out the mother of all releases. We're talking long, echoing, unapologetic. I was so confident the explosion would drown me out, but nope. I quickly realized my mistake when I removed my hands from my ears and saw my wife's face of pure horror. Her mom looked like she just watched me bomb Hiroshima. My father-in-law? Oh, he was laughing his ass off, which honestly made it worse. The cherry on top? This family is so over the top about cleanliness that I basically committed war crimes in their sacred space. Now, I'm lying in bed, my wife is still mortified, and I'm debating whether I'll be banned from the next year's gathering. Moral of the story. Never trust Christopher Nolan to cover your mistakes. TIFU by getting myself fired because I posted a meme about my boss on Instagram. So this happened last month, and I still can't believe how dumb I was. One day, I walk into the office and find out that the boss wants to meet with me right away. I'm thinking, what did I do now? Then, he told me I was being fired for publicly insulting him. At first, I was completely confused. I thought maybe I had yelled something dumb while drunk or something, but I don't even drink that much. Then he pulled out a printed screenshot of an Instagram story I posted on my private account. It was a short story meme I made about my boss. Here's the deal. I was out drinking with coworkers one night and we were playing a mobile game where you come up with funny dumb stories about random stuff. The way it works is, you pick the main theme of the story, and the other players decide how the story goes. I typed in my boss as the main theme. I won't go into details, because it was dark humor, and looking back, it was pretty dumb, and I definitely wouldn't have posted it if I was thinking clearly. But it wasn't a direct attack. I didn't mention my boss by name or anything like that. I completely forgot that I had accepted his request on Instagram, so, yeah, big mistake. I tried explaining to him that it was just a meme, and that it wasn't specifically about him since I never mentioned his name or anything. But he didn't want to hear it and I got termination for cause. So now here I am, broke and jobless. Remember kids, don't mix alcohol and social media. TIFU by lying to my wife for 13 years. TIFU by lying to my wife for 13 years. My wife hates orange and lime flavored candies. I love them. Well, love the orange, like the lime. So, she passes on the orange Starburst to me. She passes the orange and green Skittles to me. She passes the orange and green gummy bears to me. This has been happening for 13 years. What she doesn't know is that the green Haribo gummy bears are actually strawberry. Shortly after we married, for one reason or another, I looked at the back of the Haribo gummy bears package and discovered this. So I haven't said anything for 13 years. Every time we get gummy bears, she gives me the orange and green, strawberry. I've never said a word. I've enjoyed eating my little lies. Until last night. We had some gummy bears and she opened them and she started to hand me the orange and green ones. But after a few minutes, I saw her looking at the back of the bag. Then I saw her eyes get real big. She turned to me and asked if I've known that the green bears were strawberry. She always thought they were lime. I was honest and nodded my head yes. The look of betrayal was unreal. She asked how long I've known, and I was honest. I told her as long as we've been married. She quit giving me the gummy bears she didn't like. She was even eating the orange ones out of spite. I don't think I'll get any more gummy bear discards after this. Time to buy my own. Edit, we don't eat these every day. A few times a year at most. I don't just get the rejects, it's a shared bag. Whenever she grabs a few, she would pick out the orange and green and hand to me. Just like I would give the pineapple to her, blah. TIFU, his life is ruined. This is his now ex-wife. Did he not realize, or too dumb to remember we share everything, including the same Reddit app? I logged on to see this throwaway as the default login account. I've removed all of this personal story for my family's protection and changed this account's password. Although it might be too late and already circulated online. I took a look through the comments and was seriously disgusted by most of the responses suggesting to sexually approach both of us last night. Which my sister did mention he tried something in the middle of the night. This guy is incredibly living in another world. I'm only posting this to reassure everyone thinking he got away with it, that these types of scumbags do not. I came home yesterday with my sister to pack my shit. I saw his update saying I seemed alright, but I was keeping it in for the next morning. Reason we slept in the living room is because I didn't want him to see my bags in the corner of the bedroom. He came home suddenly before I finished packing. It wasn't fun camping, or a picnic. This morning, before he woke up, we grabbed the rest of my stuff and left. I went to the bank and froze our joint account before he irresponsibly starts taking cash out. I'm not seeing him anymore, going to lawyer up, give away all this Reddit gold to the comments that I feel were actually reasonable, and divorce his ass. Oh, and if you can read this, I've deleted the tracking app. My lawyer will call you to unfreeze your share and take the steps to unlink me from any other tracking apps you might have on me. TIFU got drunk at a Christmas party and gave her my room key. Last week I went to my company's Christmas party, a very fancy even for the 800 plus staff, open bar all night kind of deal. At around 2 a.m. I was standing at the bar chatting up the young lady who is head of HR. She mentioned she needed to get a taxi to go home at some point and I who was already well on my way. Slipped her my spare room key and gave her my room number and said my bed is big enough and I walked away. A bit later she approached me laughing saying it's probably a bit unprofessional for her to sleep over. I was shocked as I at first couldn't remember what I did. I went back to work today again forgetting about the incident only for a good friend to come to me and ask if I have been fired yet. That brought it all back. Do I regret it? Definitely not and I would probably do it again. TIFU by making my fiancé scared of me. My fiancé is a woman that has a history of abusive boyfriends. However, both her and me have a very macabre form of humor, where barely anything is off limits. Usually this leads to us laughing, but today I went too far. She came home from a late-night errand, and playfully asked me what I'd do if she would break up with me. Me, in my stupidity, replied, I've thought about you and it even scared myself, but I'd obviously kill you. I meant for her to go you wouldn't even be able to LMAO. But that is completely not what happened. She cowered back, saying she got scared. We went and had dinner, and it seemed to be okay, when she went to bed a bit early. 10 minutes pass and she comes out of the room to reiterate how scared she felt. This culminated in her coming back again an hour later, crying her eyes out, saying she is scared of me and she needs a break. This woman means everything to me and this absolutely breaks me. I meant for it to be a silly, on-the-edge joke, not for her to be scared of me. I don't know what to do and pray to God that she somehow forgives me. TIFU by making a terrible joke and made my wife cry. So I took up a part-time job at a retailer to help get my wife's and my debt down, been there for about a month and get along with everyone. I love my wife and we have a son, any chance I get, I mention them. Not because I feel like I need to make sure everyone knows I have a family but it just comes out naturally. Anyway, my wife has come through to drop off food or to buy things when I'm working but today was the first time all three of us went together for some Christmas shopping. I said hi and introduced my wife and son to some of the associates and everything was pleasant until we got to the register. The associate that we got said hi and I introduced my wife and son to her. She then said, "You have a wife? And a son?" And I looked at my wife with a grin and stupidly said, "And this is my girlfriend." She was not amused. I knew I fucked up after seeing her face. In the parking lot she asked how I would feel if it was her joking about having a boyfriend at work, and that's when I realized how bad I messed up. Like and subscribe for more Reddit stories. TIFU by cursing in a job interview. Yes. You heard it right. To make long story short, I am not unemployed. I do in fact have a job that I absolutely hate. I have been working for this company for about a year and a half now, while trying to keep up with my master's degree and look for a better job at the same time. After numerous interviews for the past 6 months at least, I got a recall for a remote job that pays more than my current job. I did a first interview online, a second interview online, and then a third interview that was going so well until I got asked the famous question, "Do you have any questions?" I said, "No, all I want to say is that it was so nice meeting you guys, and even if I don't get the job, I am so fucking happy I got to know you." To say that my jaw dropped to the floor would be an understatement. I did not apologize. I froze. The manager was smiling and just said thank you and goodbye. My stomach was hurting so much that I almost shit my pants. It was my only chance to be set free from the hellhole that I am in. And I fucked up big time. Like and subscribe for more Reddit stories.